Welcome to the Rock is George podcast. I'm your host, George Dionne, and this is episode 154. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit like, follow, or subscribe on the platform that you're listening to us on. You can also check out my work at the loudest.com on the planet, knac.com, for exclusive hard rock and heavy metal interviews, live show coverage, and more. My guest for this episode is John Connor. He's the front man of Dog Eat Dog. It's a little difficult to kind of put Dog Eat Dog into a box as far as their sound and their genre. They got a little bit of everything. They borrow a little bit of rock and roll and a little bit of rap, and I hear a little bit of reggae, a little bit of ska. They got everything melded into one little pot. I missed Dog Eat Dog in the 90s when they debuted. Somehow they got past me. I actually first heard of them when I was sent the promo for their upcoming release, Free Radicals, which is out on October 20th through Metalville Records. Very impressed with the sound and production and lyrical content and grooves of this album, Free Radicals. I went back and checked out the band's catalog and was really pissed that I missed them the first time around, but at least we still have access to the music. Their debut album, ALL BORO KINGS, came out in 1994. They followed that up with Play Games in 1996. Dog Eat Dog have always been a force on the live scene, doing multiple tours throughout Europe, the US, and other countries. Their last studio album was in 2006. It was called Walk With Me, and they had a 4-song EP in 2017 called New Breed. Once again, their latest album is Free Radicals. It comes out on October 20th, 2023, and here's John Connor to tell you more about it. If I knew absolutely nothing about Dog Eat Dog, how would you describe the band's music to me?
Energetic, positive energy. Fun.
Is that important that you have a positive message, especially in these times coming out of the pandemic? Everybody seems to be fighting with each other and nobody can get along, and the media's constant stream of fear. You're
right about all those things. I don't know if it's a concerted effort. There's some darkness on the new album for sure. But even in our darkest mood, there's still an element of positivity. And I think that stems from the players, myself and David. We started the band in the 90s. Roger, our guitar player, and Brandon are all pretty positive, uplifting people. We want to have a good time. We want to have fun in our lives. And yeah, I don't think it would be authentic if we tried to be anything less than ourselves.
The new album comes out on October 20th. It's called Free Radicals. It's coming out on Metalville Records. It's been a while since you had a full studio album. Walk With Me came out in 2006, but you kind of teased everybody in 2017 with the New Breed EP. So how did it take this long to get where we're at now with the 4th studio album?
Well, you mentioned Walk With Me, which was a pretty much self-released entity. You know, we had a little bit of help, but did not get really in stores. It was mostly sold on the road. It's a little nebulous as far as streaming goes. It's kind of hard to find on your Spotify's and things like that. And there's a reason behind that. You know, we were falling out of the charts, falling out of, I guess, favor with maybe some of the territories where we had been successful, like in Europe. And you know, we were in the process of finding out what we were made of and who we are. And we lost SEAN KILKENNY, our founding guitar player, during that process in 2006. And we've just been through pretty much everything you could be as a band, you know, tough times with labels, tough times with management. We had fought our way back and made this record and nobody cared or knew about it, you know, and we decided, F it, we're just going to have fun. We're going to we're going to answer the phone when it rings. But other than that, we're out here, we're doing our regular 9-to-5 jobs or whatever we had cooking on the side. And throughout the period between 2015 and 2006, like we were just it was just fun. There was no we were playing old songs, happy with it. Didn't have any aspirations to do new things. Our crowd was enjoying it. It was nice not to have to sell something to people and feel like, you were, oh, here's a new song when all they wanted to hear was the old stuff. And then 2015 rolled around. Roger Hammerly, who'd been playing on and off with us since 2006, was in, and we wanted to make him a full member. He was doing a great job. And he said, guys, I'm in, but let's think about writing something. Let's move forward as a band and not just I don't want to be here and just play the old stuff for a better paycheck, I guess. And congruently, it was our 25th anniversary, and we thought it would be nice to do something special for our fans, maybe a gift or a love letter, whatever you want to call it. We started with one song, one blossomed into 2, 3 ideas, and Roger had a producer that was like, hey, I'll record you guys for free. And we tried it out. We loved it. The EP was done. We decided we didn't want to mess with any labels. We're just going to put it out ourselves and carve our own path, keep on having fun, and stay low profile. And we did that. A year later, Metalville came and said, hey, you guys have something to say and we believe in you, and we'd love for you to make an album, and we're going to put out the EP. And we liked the way they did business. It was a 1-page contract. And where do you see that in entertainment? Never. Is the answer. We own our own masters. We might not be on the biggest label in the world, but we like the terms, and that's more important to us than any opportunity. Running the risk of boring you, we've won the MTV award. We've had the high highs. We've been everywhere and done a lot of things, maybe not everything. Most importantly, we've got to meet and play with some of our heroes and had a ball doing it. So it's more important for us to have things the way we want them and the way we feel comfortable with them than to have a bigger chance at more notoriety.
Absolutely understand that. Let's talk a little bit about the songs that you've put out so far from the album. Lit Up is out now as a single. It has a video too. You guys are performing inside a UFC ring while there's an arm wrestling match going on in the background and a wrestling match going into the background. So let's talk about the video first, then we'll get into the song. Who came up with this concept?
Well, the concept morphed. Metalville asked for a lyric video. That's what the budget was, and we decided we were going to do that. We happened to be on the road in Europe, and we had a couple of days off, and we decided, you know what? Let's take a stab at making an inexpensive video and utilizing our resources. And that's just what we did. We went to a gym. Our friends at WXW over in Germany, one of the biggest European wrestling promotions, have a space over there. And they said, hey, you guys can have our space. You can use our cameras. And, what more is there? I had a loose idea for a video that wasn't really going to feature us. It morphed into what it became. And I'm really proud of that video, not because I think it's like some great content or work of art, but, we made a commitment to doing something, and we pulled on all resources and favors we could. David, my bass player and great friend and band partner for a long time now, he has a history in film and making short films and, a DIY and kind of independent stuff. So once he decided that he would direct it, I knew we'd be in good hands. We had a lot of fun. You can see our roadies drinking beer in the background, trying to look interested. We decided that the song in our first release in 17 years deserved more than a lyric video. And I'm glad we put it together. Like you said, it's pretty rando, but there's a loose storyline in there. And I think mostly what we get across is that we're high energy and we like to have fun.
So let's talk about the lyrics of Lit Up. What inspired those?
Yeah, it's funny. The guys, I did all the lyric writing for this album. So originally I wanted the song to be called Live Up. But the guys thought I was singing Lit Up. So when I said live up and I was trying to teach them the words, they're like, no, no, we like lit up. And I was like, well, the song's not really like, that implies like, I don't know, smoking weed, whatever you want to think. And they're like, no, no, go with lit up. We like that better. And being a democratic entity, I decided, okay, I'm going to work with what the boys are giving me. I think it's really about seizing the moment, just enjoying life. For me, one of the things that's helped me transition into adulthood and a little older age has been something like yoga, body weight stuff that really helped me during the pandemic. I had bad hips. I had some chronic injuries from rock and roll and skateboarding and ice hockey and things like that. And started doing yoga every day because I had the time. So it kind of loosely is about the feeling that you get from that type of energy, from just like a workout, whatever it is. It really has nothing to do with what those guys, I guess, wanted it to be, which was like getting lit or partying or whatever you want to imagine. But it really has to do with more about a natural high that you can get out of life and from things like yoga. Who knew?
Are you doing the DDP yoga?
No, but I've never, well, not never, but I've barely ever been to a yoga class. Like a lot of things, I'm DIY. I watched a few YouTube videos and was like, okay, cool. Basically, I developed like a 10-15 minute program during the pandemic and try and do that every day. Kind of gets my day started. But I'd like to check it out someday. If he has a free trial, I check it out. But yeah, the less I can pay for, the better.
I highly approve of it. I've done 2 rounds of it. It's definitely good to build your fundamentals off of. Maybe not a lifelong program because those are tough to stick with, but something to definitely build your fundamentals and kind of add that strength training to yoga.
Very cool. And I'm so glad that he's been able to, not only save bodies, but save lives. And guys have been able to use that discipline to stay away from some demons that have plagued them. So yeah, credit to Jake the Snake and some of the other disciples that have been able to work the program, as they say.
Absolutely. You got another song out, Never Give In. Staying on the positive message there. If you want to talk a little bit about the lyrics behind that.
Yeah, that song, literally it starts with, I had a dream last night and I've never had this happen to me, but I literally was thinking during the day, I kind of had the hook together, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to say in the verses on Never Give In. And I went to sleep. About hour and a half, 2 hours later, I woke up literally having this like nightmare, this like dystopian nightmare. And I just like started writing. I started, dictating into my phone. And basically like the next day, put my mind to it, put the pen to paper, and pretty much wrote the words. And yeah, I mean, basically, I'd say to make it as broad as possible, I just want people to maybe get the message out of it, like, hey, never give up. If you're going through something, adversity, or if you have a goal, it's attainable, and we're going through it. People all over the world are going through it right now, and go for it, because if you give up, you might not have anybody who's going to pull you up and bring you back to that level. So it's putting the onus on yourself a little bit, and it's also encouragement.
You have a guest rapper on the song Mean Street. It's Rude Boy from the Dutch act Urban Dance Squad. I don't know how familiar people in the U.S. are with Urban Dance Squad, but I guess they're one of the bigger bands in their homeland.
Well, they were pretty influential because they were one of the first bands to truly mix rock and rap. And they did a lot more than that. They mixed blues, jazz, metal, rock. They put movie samples into it. They had a DJ, you know, of course, people going to give Run DMC and Aerosmith. They're going to give, you know, Anthrax the nod, and that's fine. But those are one offs. Those are outliers. You know, UDS was a band that really put it together and really had chemistry, and it was hugely impactful on me and David and Sean as well. Those guys were in a band called Mucky Pup, and we were touring in Europe, and we got exposed to Urban Dance Squad's first record. And that was right before they left Mucky Pup and started Dog Eat Dog. And I had been singing in bands for a few years, but it was mostly covers and things like that, not really writing originals. But I got bored with the structure. I was really into skateboarding, and that was something I could do with friends, on my own. You could travel. There was so much more to it. It was more free form for me. But when I heard Urban Dance Squad, I was like, okay, you guys want to start a band. I don't want to do that, but I want to have that kind of freedom. So if we all can think about it in that way, where we're not closing ourselves off to any genres, we're going to keep open-minded. And those guys said to me in turn, okay, we'll keep it as free as we can, but if you're going to be the singer, you have to sing for all of us. You know, it can't just be your perspective and your opinion. I was like, cool, and I can deal with those parameters as well. So anyhow, cycling all the way back, you know, over the years, we actually got to become friends with Patrick, with Rude Boy from Urban Dance Squad, and when we were making this record, that was another weird song that came to me. I had taken a trip to Ireland during the pandemic to see my mom, and I was on the plane on the way back, and I was watching the Scorsese film Mean Street, and in the middle of the movie, I paused it and basically wrote the whole chorus and wrote my whole verse, basically what came, and it was just like, wasn't really, there was nothing about that movie, but it just gave me enough to start something, and that was a title, you know, and that got me into the hook, and then that got me into the verse, and we had only one verse, and I really didn't know what I wanted to say on the second verse, and we had a version with a guitar solo as the second verse, which I was cool with, but I was like, hey, let me reach out to Rude Boy and just see if he would do this. And fortunately enough, we ran into him a couple of times over the course of last summer. And our last show of the year last year was in Eindhoven, and his band was playing. And we were there. We were all there. We're like, come on, man, you got to do it. You got to do it. And he's like, all right, I'll give you guys an answer in 24 hours. And like 12 hours later, I got a text. He's like, I'm in there. I'm doing it. And hey, it's a long story, but it's an honor to have him on our record.
One of my favorite tracks from the new album is At Joe's, and I have to know, is Joe a real person, and where's his house?
Joe's real. The house is gone.
Oh.
I moved from Jersey City, New Jersey to Washington, D.C. in 1998, 99, around that period. And 2 doors down from where I settled with my lady, who I'm still with, was this house that I just couldn't believe. There was literally no power, no running water. The windows were boarded up. The doors were boarded, no glass. I mean, it was literally a shit show. And we were making the album titled Amped at that time in DC. That's how I started hanging out down there. So I had that idea for Joe's house, which is the original idea for it, was in 1999. So it just took that long for that song to kind of manifest itself. But the idea was there, and it was truly a special place, pretty much 24/7, anytime, day or night. You see, they come and they go. And you just hear out the window, hey, Joe, hey, Joe. So, yeah, Joe's real. The place is gone. And the funny thing, the thing that tripped me out, because I traveled the world a little bit by that time, but it was right across the street from a grammar school. So I was like, whoa, like I believe places like this exist, but across the street from a school, like that's a little gnarly. And yeah, I don't think Joe's around anymore, but definitely the house is gone.
Are you planning a third single from the album before it's released?
Yeah, we're in the midst of soliciting dog videos from our fans around the world right now. The next track is Man's Best Friend, and we wanted that to be something where everybody got involved. We're not only dog lovers, we know our fans are too. So it's going to be fun to have people submit videos and get their pooches in there. And there might be a little performance or a couple of cameos, maybe friends in bands or family members of ours that make the cut. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. We opened up a TikTok account for that track and song, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not I can't figure it out so far. We have a couple of followers because I opened the account years ago, but we just never did anything with it. But here we go, Man's Best Friend, TikTok. And then the fourth single from the album is going to be Bar Down, which is a pretty moody, very shows a different side of Doggy Dog. I'm not going to say it's not Doggy Dog because we did it. But yeah, that's going to be number four. And then I guess they're calling Mean Street the focus track for when the album comes out. So by the time the record drops, we're going to have 5 songs circulating, and we got 14 total. So
You know you're gonna get like 1,000 French bulldog videos, right?
I know I already looked through some of them, and they're like all Frenchies.
Dog of the decade, I think it's gonna turn out to be.
You know what? I was a border collie guy. Now I'm like leaning Roddy and Shepherds, but honestly, I love them all. Before I had a dog in my life, and this goes back probably about almost 20 years, I was lucky enough to get my first rescue. But yeah, I only liked big dogs up to that point, but now I love them all. You can't go wrong. There's no dog that I don't love.
We got cats. We used to have dogs, but now we have cats.
I understand. I love cats too. And if we don't get enough dog videos, I'm going to open up the submission to all pets.
There you go. You guys just completed a little tour of Europe. How much of the new material did you test out?
A lot. Yeah. Every show was at least half, if not more, new tracks. It was important for us to get a feeling for them, but also to present them to people. We started last year with Never Give In. That song got played throughout the whole festival circuit, and I'm glad we did because we got an excellent video out of Hellfest, and we were able to splice that up with a couple of festivals from this year and make a video clip for the song. But no, the truth be told, George, we had been playing the new material as we wrote it, and we started writing and recording that material in 2017. And of course, everybody had a pandemic break. And being a bi-continental band, we couldn't get together for over a year. But as we wrote songs, I would just freestyle, make up lyrics. As long as I had something to sing, like on a chorus part, I wanted to try the song right away. And a lot of times that happened. We'd write the song on Tuesday or Wednesday, and by Friday and Saturday night we were playing it live just to see how it felt. And we were pretty lucky, like nothing really fell apart on stage, but we got lost a couple of times. It's really important to see, for us being mostly what we consider ourselves a live band, the visceral reaction from the public and also ourselves. Like, how do we feel playing this material? That's going to make a difference to me whether or not I want to put it on a record. It might not be the final say, but it's useful information to have. So we started playing the new material basically as it was being written, and we're not going to stop now that the record's about to come out. One of the things that I really like about the record, and think that the new material can certainly add to our live performance, because it gives us an opportunity to change tempos and change moods in ways that maybe we weren't able to do a year or two or three ago, now that we have the new songs, a song like Bar Down or One Thing, or even Energy Rock, is our fastest song in the live set at 190 beats per minute. People like that from the live set this summer. So we kind of mixed in new songs here and there, but we tried to play all 4 singles from the album every night.
Are you mainly sticking to the festivals? Or are you going to be doing some club shows along the way?
Just announced that we're doing a European tour this fall. We're doing 3 weeks with Grove Street from the UK and our friends Kings Never Die from New Jersey. They're also on Metalville with us and feature Dan Astasi, who played guitar and sang and wrote a lot of Dog Eat Dog songs, particularly on our first album. So it's a joy to hit the road with those guys. I think we're going to plan a spring leg 2 in Europe and also look at the United States, North America, South America, Japan. There's lots of places that we want to go and play and spread the word. But as I know all too well, it depends on how the record's doing. If there's demand, it's going to be easy to go and play shows. That's what we all want to do. So we're hopeful and optimistic and looking forward to what the future brings.
Next year is going to be the 30th anniversary of your debut album, All Boro Kings. Are you guys going to be doing anything special to commemorate that?
Yeah, we're actually beginning in the beginning stages of doing like a little documentary, maybe kind of like, an hour, or it could be like full length. I'm not sure how it's going to go. After giving blood, sweat, and tears to getting this album made for 5 years, I said basically the only thing I want to do with it is to be interviewed. Like I'm doing no production on this at all. One of the things that I love is a very competent editor and director, and a guy who's one of my dear, dear friends has taken on the project. And our childhood pizza place is putting up the money to finance it. So I think the energy and the intent behind it is very good. And after, that'll be 34 years for Dog Eat Dog, 30 years since All Boro Kings. Why not? Why not tell the story a little bit by those who lived it? Unfortunately, we don't have a guy like Sean around to tell his side anymore. So maybe it's time to get it done while we're all still here and healthy and can remember it too. We're going to do some live shows as well, focus on that material a little bit, but that will probably be next summer a little bit, and then maybe next fall. We want to give our album full focus and full attention for at least a year.
A couple times you mentioned Dog Eat Dog guitarist Sean Kilkenny. He passed away in 2021 at age 51. He was kind of an integral part of the band while he was in it up till 2005. Is there a particular memory or experience that you had with him that kind of stands out? I don't want to put you on the spot. Those things are tough, but
no, it's not. And I talk about it on stage every night. We say his name. We love to celebrate his memory, and by playing his music and talking about him is the best way you can honor him. So, there's feelings still there, but, the passage of time gives me a great opportunity just to think back to, Sean and I, we came up together. We met each other in high school, and we were both transplants to this particular high school in our sophomore year. And I opened up my locker and I had a picture of James Hetfield and Ozzy Osbourne, and he opened his locker and he had a picture of James Hetfield and Angus Young. And we already knew who each other were, but we were basically like John, Sean, and, we were inseparable up until 2005. And, we learned how to skateboard together. We learned how to party together. We travel the world together. So along with Dave, who's still with me and started the band, and we've been friends for 40 years now. We had lots of great memories, both Dog Eat Dog and non-band stuff. So Sean is never far away from us. He gets mentioned on a nightly basis on tour, and there's always a great reason to talk about him and bring him up. And we miss him as a friend. He wasn't part of the act anymore, and that was better for him and for us probably. But at the same time, we quickly got over that and remembered that we were dear, dear friends, and actually more than that, brothers. And it's sad that he's gone, but I love reminiscing with people about him and people telling me their stories about Sean. It's always great. Makes me smile.
On your second album, Play Games, you had a guest appearance by Ronnie James Dio, which seems like an unlikely pairing. I put the album up there in the back. How did you end up scoring that appearance for that single?
Well, All Boro Kings had great success in Europe and worldwide. So we were riding high, we were feeling ourselves, and basically there was no question that was too big. Not saying that we were going to get whatever we wanted, but we were getting put in some pretty good places, getting hooked up with RZA from Wu-Tang. But when we wrote the song Games, immediately the chorus came into my head, and for some reason I heard Dio's voice singing it. And, we were smoking a lot of weed and trying to be creative back then. I was goofing out like, yeah, imagine if, Dio actually sung that shit. We're like, and then, I don't know, somebody made a call. And next thing you know, Dio's like, I don't know who you guys are, but if you're on Roadrunner and you sold records like I heard you did, I'm interested in hearing what you have. And we sent him the track, the demo of it, and he was like, cool, I'm coming to New York. And he came to New York City, came to the studio, and he blessed us not only with his voice and his charm and personality, but gave us great stories about Black Sabbath days and everything. And he couldn't have been nicer. He was hilarious too. He's like, I'm sorry I don't know you guys, but I don't listen to rock radio at all. I only listen to sports radio because I don't want to be influenced. I'm like, well, that explains you singing about Dungeons and Dragons and shit all the time because you're definitely not up to date on current events. But no, we had some great laughs, and we talked about a lot about the Rangers because he had a minder or a handler with him, and he was a big Rangers fan, and I'm a huge hockey and New York Rangers fan. So we talked a little sports, and we had a great time, and he killed it in the end. He did a great job, and I don't have a ton of regrets, and I guess this isn't something that I regret or we regret because it wasn't our choice to make it happen. But in 96, when that album came out and we were riding very high, we were playing Donington Monsters of Rock, and the headliners were Kiss and Ozzy. And Kiss, it was their first European appearance with makeup on. So it was a huge deal. We were on the main stage, and we wanted to fly Dio over and have him sing the national anthem and open with Games. And Sharon Osbourne was having none of that shit. She was like, Dio? Oh, hell no. He's like, it's you guys or Dio, but you can't have both. And we're like, all right, thank you, Miss Sharon. She's such a spiteful bitch.
A lot of people say that, it seems. When you do these big festivals, do you ever get to hang with kind of these the headlining acts? I know you did one with Iron Maiden, and you did one with Offspring. Do you get to mingle with these guys and kind of hobnob a little bit?
Yeah. Mostly because of just connections that we've made over the years. We're generally sometimes we're on the main stage, but we're not like a main stage headliner over there. A lot of times we're headlining like a second stage, or we'll have a good spot on the main stage during the day. But, we're not up there like Deftones and Iron Maiden and stuff. But we know all those bands because we've been around, for 30 years. Some of those bands, like the younger bands, weren't around when we started on the circuit. So Bruce Dickinson's a hell of a nice guy. We actually met him when he was outside of Maiden and doing Dickinson on his own. And he opened for us a couple of times that summer. at festivals, and there was no, hey, I'm Mr. Iron Maiden. He was like, oh, I love what you guys are doing, and keep up. And we're like, look, it's an honor for you to perform. It's an honor having you perform before us, and we're huge fans and everything. He's like, don't worry about that. He's like, there's ups and downs in this world, boys. You'll find out. And he sure was right. But yeah, I love it. We've gotten to mix and mingle with most people that we've wanted to, and you know, for those that we didn't want to, we just kept them at arm's length or stayed away from. Generally, I find musicians, when in an opportunity or a setting such as a big backstage, where everyone's there, the crews, the musicians, we're all just hungry or trying to find the coffee or want to know where the beer tent is, so we're everybody's a peer. Of course, there are people that are up on certain levels, and they've earned that, especially when they get on stage. But backstage, everybody seems to be cool, and there's always a good bit of fun to be had if you extend yourself and say hello.
And I'm sure Bruce Dickinson would agree with your opinion of Sharon Osbourne as well.
Not touching that one. I can't speak for Mr. Bruce Dickinson.
I read an interesting little anecdote, and I don't know who edits Wikipedia, but also an act that's celebrating 30 years is Beavis and Butthead. And apparently one of your videos appeared on their old shows. It was the video for No Fronts, and they called you a bunch of butt munches. And I was curious to know if that got back to you then, and whether it was a positive thing for you guys or negative, because someone like Kip Winger, he claims it was negative appearing on that show for him.
Maybe for him, I could see that. For us, I couldn't say culturally it was negative or positive. It was freaking hilarious, I can tell you that, because I knew that it could come up, but I was with a bunch of friends. We were all hungover as hell after New Year's Eve party, lying around, eating pizza, nobody moving, and watching MTV. And all of a sudden, many of the same people in that video, all of a sudden were on the screen. And Beavis and Butthead were joning on us and saying we drink hot chocolate 40s and everything. The funny thing about it was, snowboarding was so new and it really wasn't part of the cultural zeitgeist. So, apparently Mike Judge didn't know what it was because he was calling it skiing. And we, until somebody proves me wrong, I'm going to go with, we were the first music video ever to feature snowboarding, and I stand behind that. I haven't seen anything older than ours that it was like one part like Jackass, one part live performance, and one part like snowboard video. And there was really nothing like it to that point. And I saw quite a few bands try and replicate that after we had done it. So I'd like to think that we were the first at something. And until I'm informed otherwise, I'm standing behind it. It's an honor now, and it's a total goof to say we were on Beavis and Butthead. I wish that it helped our career, but at the time, I think we were doing so well in Europe, and it's hard to turn away opportunities wherever they come from in the world. And we learned that, I think it was like 96 or 97. We toured in the summer across the States with like Clutch and Biohazard, and we really tried to make it work in America, and gave up good festival money in Europe to do it. And it didn't work the way it worked in other parts of the world, but in my opinion, we got out there, we got to play shows, we got to make friends and fans, and that's what touring is really all about. I know the record companies want to see radio ads and sales and things like that. And I get that. I understand that business component, but for us as artists, touring is great no matter where it is. And we tried to break America. Beavis and Butthead tried to break it for us, but sadly their reach had diminished, I think, by then.
All right. Do you have any good whiskey on that shelf behind you?
Definitely. What do you like?
I like everything from scotch to rye to bourbons. I mean, that's my shelf.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm partial to Irish whiskey, bourbons and rye. So that's kind of where I go.
Uh,
My my pro tip is if you're moving through an international duty free, buy the Jameson Triple. It's very smooth Jameson, and you can only find it in duty free.
oh, awesome. Thanks for the tip. I appreciate that. I'll add it to the shelf when I get out there.
There you go.
All right, John, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Dog Eat Dog album comes out October 20th. It's called Free Radicals. It's out on Metalville Records. Great album. I hope you do really well with it, and I hope to see you out there on the road when you make it to America.
I appreciate it. Where are you? What part of the world are you in, sir?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Oh, Mass. Okay, great. Yeah, that's not too far. We almost played in Boston there last year with Life of Agony, but got cut short because of COVID outbreak. But that's definitely achievable for us. Thanks again for taking the time to speak to me and for checking out our new album. I really appreciate that, and I hope to see you down the road in the future.
Once again, I want to thank John Connor of Dog Eat Dog for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Be sure to check out their latest album, Free Radicals, out on October 20th through Metalville Records. Head over to your favorite music streaming app. Take a listen to what's available. If you like what you hear, buy a physical copy. Support the artist. For all things Dog Eat Dog, head over to their official website, dogeatdogofficial.com. I also want to thank Nathan T. Burke and Metalville Records for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. Discover your next favorite artist on the Rock is George podcast.